let's talk about the election. Some updates, especially in these swing states. We'll start in Michigan, where it's been a real mess, specifically in Wayne County, where Detroit is. So there's a canvassing board, 4 members on this board. It's a bipartisan board, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. So they go in, they do the recount, and they do the audit, and it's up for certification. The Democrats, of course, vote, yeah, let's go ahead and certify it. The Republicans point out, well, there's 72% of these precincts have funky numbers. More votes than registered voters, dead people voting, signature stuff. So the Republicans initially say, we're not certifying this. And this is all on a live stream, you can watch it. So the Republicans say, we're not certifying it. So immediately, the foot soldiers of the Democrats, the media, some independent media, just the stupid maniacs who will do anything to get rid of Trump, they start going nuts, and they dox these 2 individuals, these 2 Republican canvasser managers. So they dox them, they release their names, the names of their children, they threaten them with violence, they encourage others to harass them. So the 2 Republicans get scared, basically, by all this harassment, and they change course and say, okay, we're going to certify them under the condition of another audit. But then after they say, okay, we're going to certify them because of the pressure pending an audit, they realize that the Secretary of State is not on board with that stipulation of auditing all these ballots. So the 2 Republicans, thank God, rescinded their certification. Now they're under immense pressure. And it's so crazy. Detroit, Wayne County is a largely black population. So of course, the first thing that all these Democrats do to put pressure on the Republicans is say, well, they're just racist. That's why they're Nazis. So it's okay if you call somebody a Nazi now. It's okay to just punch them because punch a Nazi, right? That's their whole thing. So we went from good news to bad news. Now we're back to good news. Thank God those people rescinded it and they're trying to do the right thing. You got 72 of the precincts in Wayne County that none of their numbers add up. I mean, come on. You got to do what's right there. So that's what's going on in Michigan. I think we're looking good in Michigan. Let's go to Georgia. We talked a little bit about the Democrats putting a plan together to have people move there specifically to vote. And you know who's the one pushing this? Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang is moving his family there to vote, and then he's going to move out. It's just an elitist play to say, oh, we can do it, we can do whatever we want, we're rich. So I think we're going to be looking good in Georgia too. They're finding votes everywhere. They found, I think, up to 6,000 votes that weren't calculated in the first count. And of course, they find these random USB memory cards with votes on them. They're just like, oh, there's one laying on the floor over there. And they're in Trump country. They're in red counties, with thousands and thousands of Trump votes, so they conveniently get lost. It should tell you something when all these quote-unquote mistakes or mishaps favor Biden every time. The glitches, the human error, they favor Biden every time. So what does that tell you? It's fraud. So what's going on in Nevada? There's not a lot in the news about Nevada, but if you dig a little deeper, what they're having a big problem with is they're having people that have voted twice. They might have a house in Vegas, but they live in California. So they get these absentee ballots in the mail. They mail them in for Nevada, and then they also vote in California. So they got people voting twice. So we need an audit there. We're gonna get it. I'm feeling real good. This thing's gonna go to the Supreme Court, and I think we're okay. Okay, so Pennsylvania has their audit. It's still a mess, and they're recounting their audit. They're not matching the signatures, which is the one fail-safe with the mail-in ballots, was they were going to match signatures against what they have on file. And of course, they don't do it. So the Supreme Court of Michigan, which is largely Democrat, I think it's 5-2, 5 Democrats, 2 Republicans. The Supreme Court of Michigan, or of Pennsylvania, says, we're just certifying it, Biden won. But we can go to the United States Supreme Court with this after that decision. It has to go up the chain of command. We're going to get up to the United States Supreme Court, and they're going to get a true audit in Pennsylvania, and they're going to find all these fraudulent ballots, and we're going to win Pennsylvania. I promise you. We just need to get in front of the Supreme Court. Okay, so we touched on Nevada, Georgia, Michigan. I'm not sure what's going on in Arizona right now. Okay, so there's kind of the updates on what's going on with the election. Thank God those Patriots in Michigan rescinded their certification. They did the right thing in the face of the extreme pressure of the maniac Democrats who are going to, unleash holy hell on them. They're encouraging people to go to their house and beat them up. You know what's sketchy? In the middle of that live stream where they were showing the canvassing procedure and the certifying procedure, when they voted the Republicans not to certify, the live stream cut out. And it cut out, and cut out, cut out. And by the time it comes back on, the Republicans said, oh, okay, we're going to certify them. So there's just so much crazy stuff going on. I really feel for those people. But they did the right thing in the end. So what's going on with Sidney Powell? She getting ready to release the Kraken, right? So she says. Let's hope she has it. So she pointed out that the algorithm in these Dominion software machines, it's very targeted. It's not a broad thing. That's why they have all these small little pieces of fraud they're doing all over the place, so nothing looks too big. So it's a very targeted thing. When Trump gets up by a certain percentage, all the counting stops or they flip votes. But the algorithm wasn't set to do what the Democrats needed to do when Trump pulled away in such a big way. So that's why they had to stop counting, because their algorithm would not let them flip as many votes as they needed. So that's why they had to stop counting, fill out all these paper ballots out in a van somewhere, just mark them for Biden, throw them in a box, and get them into the precinct. They had to hastily do it, and that's part of the reason I think they're going to get caught. It was such widespread cheating that they were chasing their tail to get it all done. So I think that's what's going on with the election so far. I really think we're in good shape. Don't listen to mainstream media. This is going to get into the United States Supreme Court, and as you know, we have a majority there. Depends on what John Roberts will do. Also, day before yesterday, we had the tech tyrants up in front of the Senate again, and of course nothing will happen. But it was interesting to see Josh Hawley from Missouri, the senator, talking to Zuckerberg. And apparently there was a Facebook whistleblower who reached out to Josh Hawley in Missouri and gave him information on a program that basically can prove that these tech companies, Google, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they collude with each other to come up with what they're going to censor. So it's blanket censorship across all social media. That's against the law. And Zuckerberg was a deer caught in headlights when he realized that Josh Hawley had that information. So we'll see what comes out of it. I know I say that a lot, and typically we're disappointed. However, if they can catch him under oath lying, and of course, all those guys do up in front of the Senate is go, oh, I don't remember right now, but I can get back to you. They do that because they know they're under oath. And they have to go back and manipulate some sort of information and then send it in. And Josh Hawley stuck, he stuck to it and said, no, I want an answer now while you're under oath. Also, we had Senator Blumenthal out of Connecticut, just a far left-wing Democrat, and the guy's a Marxist. He was saying, he was advocating for more censorship. He wants Twitter and Facebook to censor all conservatives. Of course, he brings up Breitbart and Steve Bannon and Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump. He wants them all censored. All the Republicans. That's Marxist, it's socialist, it's authoritarian. The problem is these big tech companies, they convince these Democrat decision makers, the legislators, they buy them off, basically, to say, let us do what we want to do, and we'll censor whoever you want us to censor. It's unbelievable, but little by little, I think it's being exposed. I think Trump is doing this 5D chess thing with the election. I think he knew they were going to cheat. I think he basically said, instead of putting a stop to it before the election, he said, let's let them do it, and then we'll catch them. So we can basically kill 3 birds with 1 stone. We can win the election, expose the cheating globalist Democrats, tie China to it, which I think is going to happen. And we can also expose the mainstream media. They lied with their polls, and then now they're lying, calling Biden the president-elect. They're not giving Trump the time of day. They think it's all said and done. And once this thing can get flipped for Trump, of course the Antifa idiots are going to be out in the street raising holy hell. But some of this mainstream media might not be able to recover. They might lose their viewers if it turns out Trump won in the end, because it's the media's job to be the one investigating all of this stuff. It's not supposed to be independent people like me and other people trying to figure out what's going on and really having to dig deep and read, Senate and state documentation to try and figure out the real story. The mainstream media and their journalists with their resources are the ones that are supposed to be telling us the facts, not a biased, skewed perception of what the facts are, just the actual facts. And it would keep our country a lot safer, because if everybody knew the election was truly in doubt, they wouldn't be so heartbroken and surprised when it gets flipped. And when they're heartbroken and shocked, that's when they take to the street, because they're petulant children, and they raise holy hell and think it's okay to be violent. So I think we're in good shape. Keep your spirits up. Keep an eye on Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan. See what's going on. Check back here later for some update videos. You guys have a good day.